Welcome to Stay Visible 2026 from SISTRIX. This is the April edition. My name's Steve Payne. There's 4 items I want to get through today. There's some cool update news. There's information about a chatbot, and there's a new travel sector watch from Charlie Williams as well. But let's kick off with the interesting news, actually. Google Search, no grand plan. That's actually what Yono wrote in the newsletter on Sunday. But I want to go back a couple of steps because in January, Johannes Boyce, founder of SISTRIX, actually wrote his AI search predictions for 2026. The first one was the unified search box. And that was an interesting one to think about because if you think of ChatGPT, which has its single app input location, Google's inputs for its tools, so that's classic search, that's AI mode, and Gemini are spread all over the place. So I know even personally, I am jumping between the two and not really knowing where I should be starting my journey. And there was an interesting video podcast that I want to highlight as well. Liz Reed was interviewed by the Access podcast. She talked about Search and Gemini as 2 different teams, 2 different products. Of course, from the consumer side, from our side of things, we tend to go into both and use them for various different things. I'm certainly using Gemini for search as well. They talked about Liz talked about the 2 separate teams, but sharing underlying tech. But she didn't really, when pushed, come up with an answer on whether these 2 things would actually come together. So the question was, do you think they will ever converge? And she gave the quick answer, I don't know. And then went on to talk about a lot of things about how they differentiate, how fresh everything is. It's an interesting video. You really should go and check it out because you can look into the eyes of Liz Reed and get a feeling for how she feels about the future. The way I came away from it is that I had a feeling that things aren't going to change soon. So that's an interesting one because when it does change, it changes everything. It's kind of the cliff edge for Google Search because when that default search box on the front of your phone changes from maybe classic to AI mode or to Gemini first, it changes where the traffic goes and it changes how we do our search marketing. So this is a very important one to keep an eye on. Jono picked it up in his newsletter on Sunday. You can subscribe to the newsletter. It goes out once a month. This is sistrix.com/newsletter. He said it shifts the game after watching that video because we go from a point where we know how to align with Google to a point where we don't know how to align with Google because Google doesn't know which way things are going. So we build things that survive regardless of how Google chooses to work this month. So we're going from point to point with Google trying to work out what's going on. It's a good point from Jonah. He says more in the newsletter. Sign up, sistrix.com/newsletter. The core update, the March 2026 core update from Google is underway. It's day 12 of potentially 14 of the update. Started on the 27th of March. Good news is nothing much has happened. Look at that graph there. That little bit in the middle that's going up is not the core update. It's something that happened before the core update. The core update is where that little blue pointer is. And as you can see, after the update rolled through, this is UK data, but US looks very similar. The actual changes in SERPs started to fall. But that area under the curve there is an area of change. And we can certainly find examples in there. There are examples of domains going up, examples of domains going down, but they are not easy to find. And certainly when you get to the smaller domains, they hide behind a lot of the background noise anyway. All I can say is in the top 100, domains are all fairly stable, maybe a little bit of clustering around Wikipedia type stuff, wiki type stuff, and dictionary type stuff, encyclopedias. But that often changes anyway as things flip from one to the other and affect rankings from neighboring or related domains. I will still update. Sistrix.com/blog is where the update's going up. So there's potentially something that can happen in the next few days. Right, I want to give you on an update on Sistrix for chatbots now. Let's see if we can go into a live sharing session now. Right, some of you might know that SISTRIX for Chatbots has been in beta for a while. It's available if you're a customer for free. It's part of the package, but things are developing very quickly. I actually saw a demo today, which made me extremely excited for what's coming in the next few weeks, but I can't show you today. I'm just going to give you a quick update on how things are looking. Background data is running. So those of you that know SISTRIX know we have a background data set that updates every day. That means that your data is ready and waiting for you as you enter the tool. The history is there as well. So you don't have to kick off searches or prompts or anything else. That background data is there for you. We can also show you, brands that are appearing across search as well. There's a list of brands, but you can also take a single brand and have a look at development over time across different chatbots, across different countries, and look into their competitors. It's important for you to know where you sit as a brand or as an entity. Are you sitting in the right landscape? This is kind of the first thing you need to do when you take a look at the positioning of your entity within chatbot outputs. You can also look at the sources that are referencing are being referenced in the outputs where your brand is being mentioned as well. So a good guideline, a good hint, a good pointer as to where the most interesting or important URLs and domains are being taken and used within search. So if you wanted to be linked, those are the URLs and domains that you can reference. I did actually a very interesting little study where I looked at, this is for a charity event, SEO for Paws. I looked at some informative cat keywords, so cat care keywords, in classic Google search, pivoted that and worked out the top competitors, the domains that were winning there, and the URLs. And then I did the PAAs from that, the questions, or people also ask questions, put those into a prompt tracker, and then I pulled out the URLs and domains. There were one-to-one likenesses in the tops. They weren't all the same, but there are URLs that appear in both, and those are the URLs that are obviously being referenced for some reason for both chatbots and for classic search. So great blueprints for success. You can do that in the SISTRIX tool. Take a list and generate the top URLs for both the chatbots and classic search. And finally, in this episode of Stay Visible, SectorWatch. Charlie Williams has produced an excellent SectorWatch on international flights, highlighting the top domains, the top URLs, and then going into the top directories to try and find out why they are working. I can give away the top 3 domains here: skyscanner.net, easyjet.com, ryanair.com as well. But have a look at that. 4,763 keywords were curated and used for that. But it's the analysis from Charlie which goes into why those domains are winning. Just search for visibility leaders travel. I'll drop the URL, of course, into the YouTube video. That's it for April 2026. Thanks for watching and stay visible.